welcome. This is our 22nd try for trying to get this to do this recording. So
what a great Wednesday we're having.
Yes. Except this is Tuesday. I know.
We're in the boardroom too. That's the B-O-R-E-D room.
Yes.
This is gonna be a little different today.
It is. This is already a little weird how we're sitting right now because Ken, you and I have something to sit behind.
We do.
We normally are very exposed.
That's right.
But
which means I can't ever wear a skirt.
I know, but today.
Yeah, but today I could have.
Maybe you are.
Nobody
that
will
would be
ever
another
know.
one of your cousins, I guess, a female cousin. So.
Oh Lord, you don't want that.
No.
Well, welcome to the River Churns. That's the River Churns, and a little different, obviously.
A little bit.
You know, we are not happy, as you all aren't, that we had to pre-record this in order to make sure that we have it available so that we can put it out for tomorrow, for Wednesday. But we got some good news, right?
Yeah. So you all know the AV system's down right now, but they have ordered the part, and we're actually going to get a replacement part on Friday. So Friday afternoon, we're hoping that the system will be fixed, we'll be up and running again, and then when the real part comes in, this is just a temporary fix. When the real part comes in, then they'll swap it out for us. But we should be up and going by Friday afternoon. That's our goal.
Yeah. So. And you know, we had already talked about, I think the calendars are out that residents probably have noticed it, but we're gonna start doing the Churns show on a weekly basis. You know, just when you thought you were getting rid of us, you know, we're gonna go back to doing weekly, and you know, part of that's just because we feel like we need to, because things are happening fast again, and we want to just make sure that we keep everybody up to date, and so.
And it's a great communication tool.
Yeah.
And this is a great way to stay connected.
And we like it because, you know, Ken can keep us kind of the comedy side of us together and actually kind of keep things nice and loose as we talk about, you know, what we know is some very serious topics here with the virus.
Absolutely.
So, you know, a little different today because we can't, since we're not live, we can't do the trivia today.
So that means no wine.
Yeah.
We're sorry.
I'll tell you what, though, we'll make it up next week. We'll do 2 bottles of wine.
I like it.
How about that?
I like it.
If it would help, I could whine.
Oh, we know. We know.
But you were already eating the cheese, so why not? It's going to be a good one, isn't it?
It sure is.
All right. So forgive us a little bit that we're going to be a little out of context today, and that it's a little different from coming to you from the boardroom here at River Landing, but maybe it's a good change of pace.
Yeah.
Just stuff goes. But
I have to remember we're looking at this iPad now.
yeah,
it's kind of strange of trying to figure out where we look here.
I never looked at the camera anyway. I always looked at the two of you. I really wasn't looking at the camera, except when we have live audience. Then I would look at it.
Right. But, and this is just a little different.
Yeah,
so
we do have a live audience.
We do.
We do?
Yeah.
Michelle's sitting there.
Our executive associate director is here, so we're in good shape.
Absolutely.
She even did I don't know how she did that. How did you do that, Michelle?
Take 22.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
So. All right, well, Lisa, let's get into the statistics, I think.
Yep.
Is that
Let's
where we're
start with that
today?
first, yes.
Okay, so, you know, it's actually been 3 weeks since we've been on. And so we've seen, you know, some increase in the last 3 weeks. So not any particular place to start. You know, one of the things that probably the most concerns me, and I'm assuming it concerns most of you, is that the positive percentage has been going up steadily. Hospitalizations have went, you know, last time we were on the air, they were 2,300 in the hospital. Now we're 3,600 in the hospital. Maybe a bit of good news there, and it may be too early to tell, but I've been looking at the statistics a lot today, and the hospital numbers in the hospital have been peaked at 3,600 here for the last 4 or 5 days, and so I don't know yet if that means that we're hitting a plateau, and hopefully we're going to go down from there. I just don't know, but nobody can tell that right now. But I took that maybe as a sign. You know, we know we're starting to peak, or it seems to me we're getting closer to peaking with this Delta variant. So I'm hoping that's the case. But we have in Guilford County, our positivity rate is over the last 2 weeks is averaged at 10.8%. Last time we were on it was 10.1, so we've come back up again over that 10% mark. As a state, we're actually very close to the 15% mark, the daily positive rate. As of today, for yesterday was 15%, 14.6%. We know that at this point in the state, we have, and this is good information, the percent of adult population that's vaccinated with at least one dose is 65% as of today. It was 62% 2.5 weeks ago. 60% for the percent of adult population who are fully vaccinated, where it was 58% before. Now that's adult population. They have it broken down from total population and those over 12, and then those over 18, and those over 65. But I just decided this is what they gave us. This is what I'm using at this point. In Guilford County, we are 52% fully vaccinated, 56% have the one dose, and that's with the total population, I think, for Guilford County. Just a couple other statistics. We know it's going up. I like to look at the cases per 100,000 and see how that's going up, and we know it's going up. I mean, since last time, back in middle of August when we were last on, Forsyth has gone from 377 cases per 100,000 to 741. Guilford's 357 to 624. Mecklenburg County 582 to 711, and Wake from 492 to 754. So, compare that to what it was back on July 14th. Forsyth was 31, Guilford was 35. I mean, it just, we've really, we're 20-fold more than what we were back a month and a half ago. And that just kind of to show you how fast this Delta variant has just been kind of traveling. A couple of pieces of good news, though, I thought that I wanted to share. One came out of that I found on the internet today. It came from Bloomberg.com, and it just says that in the testing up to this point, less than 1% of the fully vaccinated experience a breakthrough infection. So, again, I think we're getting that vaccination is doing what we wanted it to do, right? It's keeping us out of the hospital, it's keeping us out of passing away, and really it's still having a good effect on keeping us from getting the infection, or at least having any real symptoms from it. So that's really good. I thought that was good. And then I had a staff member send this to me today, which I thought was really good, and I looked it up, and I believe this to be true, but they were doing they had done a survey of 2,500 workers in Belgium, and comparing, and these were folks that were not infected with COVID and have not been infected with COVID, and they were comparing the Moderna antibodies versus the Pfizer antibodies, and I don't have any idea how big this is, but you'll get a feel for this. In the group that took the Moderna, there was 2,881 units per milliliter of antibodies. And in the Pfizer, it was 1,108. So, most of us got the Moderna here, certainly the ones that took the vaccine here at River Landing got the Moderna. So it looks like that the antibodies, which we know is something that helps towards keeping you from getting either as sick or sick at all. It looks like the Moderna was,
excellent.
I think the good Lord was looking out for us, let's just put it that way. So I thought that was kind of interesting and worth sharing as well, as far as statistics go. We know that, I think that's enough from the statistics side of things, but we know the Delta variant is very contagious. You all have been seeing enough information coming from us about some of the cases that we've had. We still have, and I don't have a problem sharing this with the residents, because the staff member asked me to have people praying for her, but that nurse that was really one of our first ones that got the Delta variant, that I mentioned, that you all might remember I mentioned, was in the hospital, had been in Cone for 3 or 4 days before she found they got her into a room. She was having multiple symptoms and lots of problems. She was on oxygen when she was in the hospital. She was really scared. And she's home now, which is a blessing, but she's still not doing real well. She shared with me just recently in the last couple of days. As a matter of fact, I asked her, I reached out to her on Saturday just to see how she was doing. And she's still struggling. She's still on oxygen. She's still having problems with cough, painful cough and headaches. And she's been to her doctor, and the doctor says, well, you're just gonna have to give it more time. And but she's still very scared.
This is not a cold.
This is not a cold.
It is not the flu.
No.
I mean, this is some serious
It is.
stuff.
It is.
And so,
And she's in her 30s.
yeah, this is a young
Yeah,
nurse. I
yeah.
mean, and, and unfortunately, I think her son got it as well, and I think he's okay. The reason I bring that up is, because this is not a cold. This is not the flu. This is something that could really take your life, and it's not discriminating. Anybody can get this, and so I think we just need to keep kind of making sure people understand how serious this is.
Mhm.
Yep.
And also, I think from the human side of this, for me, is asking people to be praying for her.
Right.
I really feel bad for her. She's in a bad situation, and that's just very hard for her. So, okay. So let's keep moving on, Lisa. So kind of feeding into that a little bit, because we've had staff members that have been COVID positive. We've had residents that have been COVID positive. I think we have our third resident that is COVID positive now since we've kind of had this outbreak about a month and a half ago. Fortunately, the resident that just was tested positive in Pebble Beach 2 is asymptomatic, so that's good. And we hope it stays that way, obviously. But that's not where the story ends here. We've had 4 or 5 staff members now, and we've had 3 residents that have tested positive. And we know of others who have been exposed.
Mhm.
We're getting a lot of those kind of
Getting a
phone
lot of
calls
those
from
calls.
independent living
Right.
folks and
Right.
from staff members, and
Yep.
it's out there.
It's out there.
We know
Right.
it's out there, right? And so
Every person could probably tell you someone that they've heard of or know
Yeah.
that
yeah.
has had it now.
Yeah. The hard part about this is, again, this is just, it's heartbreaking in some ways. When we have an outbreak in our nursing center, which is where we are now, it restricts some of the visitation for people who can. We can allow
Mhm.
certain family members
Yep.
to go in on a compassionate care type visit, which we've tried to be very liberal about, and so that we can still have
Especially for our
family-
spouses here.
Yeah,
that,
and
the
for
loved one.
really,
Yeah.
immediate family members and
Right.
those kinds of things. We're trying to be as liberal as we can in our interpretation of the, remember, these are not our rules. These are the rules that are set by the federal government and supported by the state government. And so we have certain procedures and policies we have to follow when it comes to the nursing home side of our operation. So, as a matter of fact, we're going to get into this a little bit. I don't know if this is the right time to get into it, but we just made a decision. I think you all should be aware of this by now, that we just made a decision to move the residents out of Wingfoot and move them into Pebble Beach 1, Pebble Beach 2, and we had a couple that went into Muirfield as well. And you might ask, well, why would you do that? And the reason we did that, honestly, is purely from a staffing standpoint. We have enough COVID positive staff members
And
who are out,
exposures, yeah.
and then exposures for staff members that are out in the healthcare center, that we just didn't feel that we had adequate enough staffing in all 5 of our households to be able to handle, properly give the proper care to our residents. And so, we had the ability to be able to move these residents. We had openings in all those areas, and we took that opportunity so that we can consolidate our staffing and make sure that we're taking good care of our residents that are over there. So 100% support that. I feel bad that we had to uproot a lot of residents. I think it ended up being 10 altogether that we had to pull out of Wingfoot and move into other areas. But I was very happy in that when the nursing team approached the residents and families about this, that everybody was understanding and supportive, and realized that we are in a pandemic and that we are doing the best we can to try and work through some of those issues. So So we just did that with the Wingfoot, and I think that makes sense.
Mhm.
So I think the next thing on our list, Lisa, and we got a whole list of stuff
We
to talk
do,
about
we do.
today, so,
We still get quite a few people emailing and talking to us about the vaccine mandate. What does
Yeah.
that mean for us as a
Yeah.
community?
yeah, and you know, the hard part about that is, you know, we all know what President Biden came out and said. What they haven't said though is, you know, what are the deadlines for this?
Right.
How's it supposed to work? What are the, you know, is there going to be certain waivers for this from a medical standpoint or from a religious standpoint? You know, is that up to us? Is that a federal thing? You know, so we don't know any of that stuff right
Yeah.
now. So, you know, roughly we have about 25% of our staff that are not vaccinated at this point that this particular mandate could affect.
Right.
You know, we've seen, because this has been publicized,
Mhm.
we've seen a lot of staff members,
We
I
have.
would say, have been steadily flowing in, getting their vaccinations. So
Absolutely.
that's been really great to see that, because
Mhm.
that means that's one less person we have to worry about. I
Right,
mean,
right.
you know, this has been a hard process for our staff. Some of them have very legitimate reasons for not getting the vaccine. Some have just concerns about it in general, and you know, it'd be nice to be able to allow them that opportunity to have time to think through that, sift through the information and all that. And, but we're not going to be at that point much longer, unfortunately.
Right.
So we're going to have to do our best to work through it. And you know, we've talked about this. If we have enough of our unvaccinated staff that end up not staying here, it could impact operations.
Absolutely.
We might be having to do some things that where we're pulling back on some of the things that we're doing. And what are the big areas that we're really concerned about? There's two areas that I'm most concerned about, just as, again, just have an honest conversation with you all about this, is the nursing side, of course, and then the dining side.
Mhm.
We know that those two departments are the biggest departments with the percentage of unvaccinated employees. And so we would have to make some changes there and figure out how to make that work.
Right.
I'm hoping when push comes to shove, that our unvaccinated staff would all choose to get it, and that would really be great, because I don't want to lose anybody. I don't want to lose anybody that's part of our family.
Right.
We've got folks that have been with us a long time,
Absolutely.
or even a short time, and we don't want to lose any of our family members at this point. So,
And you don't want me working in food service
we
either.
do not.
No.
No.
Yeah.
No. Or nursing.
Or
Yeah.
nursing.
Yeah. So,
Yes.
and for me either, really. I mean, you know, if we're making eggs and sausage, I might be able to help you out with that. But anything more complicated than that, we're in real trouble. So, you know, I wish we had more information to give you on this. We have not gotten the final regulation yet about the mandate. So, you know, really, we're kind of in a holding pattern until we hear about that. And then as soon as we know that, organizationally, and it won't be just for River Landing, organizationally, we're gonna come up with a plan for all of our communities, and then we'll be pushing that out to our staff. And of course, at that point, the residents will know that as well. We'll communicate that as well.
We're still promoting following the 3 W's.
Yes.
You're wearing your mask, waiting 6 feet, washing hands, all that good stuff. So those are still good things for all of us to be doing.
Yeah.
Also another thing, booster clinic.
Yeah.
I've had people ask
Yeah.
me about the booster clinic, and we
Yeah.
did put an announcement out on Cambridge, I think it was last week,
Yeah.
that we're looking into
Yeah,
when we can do that.
I've reached out
but-
to CVS. I haven't gotten a response back yet. It's a little different this time because the federal government
Right.
was backing
Right.
CVS and Walgreens and doing the clinics last time. The federal government hasn't come out and said they're doing that yet this
Right.
time. So
Right.
we'll see if they're gonna end up doing it again. But if we can't work that out through them, through CVS, we'll approach Walgreens, we'll approach some of the other pharmacies in our area,
Mhm.
and just see if we can do a booster clinic of
Yeah.
some sort here.
And Tom, we can't until, is it about mid-October?
Yeah,
Is it
so we
8
have to-
months after?
Well, all the literature I'm seeing so
Yeah.
far is recommending that you wait until 8 months after your second shot.
Right,
So
right.
we know the earliest that we could do that for most of our residents and the staff that got it with the first 2 clinics
Right.
was that we got it in February. So we're looking more about in October. So we got a little bit of time to try and arrange and work through
Right.
that.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping that we can get CVS to come in. They were great. They did a great
Mhm.
job
They
for
did.
us. We
They
treated
did.
them really well
Yeah.
when they were here, and
Yeah.
so I'm hoping that will provide some sort of
Right.
desire on
That
their
they wanna
part to
come
want to come back and do this, because it'd certainly be a lot easier.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
would.
it'd be a lot easier for our
And we know
residents
how
to
they
understand.
worked, and it just would be
Yeah,
a good,
that one would be.
be a
that-
good option for us.
That would be really good to be able to have that, so.
Also, we're just, reviewing trips and events.
Yeah.
On campus, off campus, so, just wanna prepare people, there may be things that we pull back on. Just cause we know large group gatherings, all of that, it's more exposure, so we need to just take a look at things like that. So you may see us tweaking some events, maybe we were gonna have some refreshments at a large event, and now we aren't going to.
Right.
We may be limiting numbers for things, so just be watching Care Merge and 1390 for any changes and things, and please just be patient with us, we just are trying to make the best decisions we can.
It's really hard.
It is
Lisa.
hard.
Honestly, the decisions were easier when we didn't have the vaccinations because everybody was in the same boat.
Right, right.
Now that we have vaccinations, we know that that residents can still get it even with the vaccination. We know staff members can still get
That's
it
right.
with the vaccination.
That's
It's already
right.
been proven that that's
Yes.
the case,
Yeah.
even here. And so the decisions are a lot harder, I think, as far as what we limit versus
It
what we
is.
don't. And honestly, we're doing our best to try and balance your safety with your quality of life.
Absolutely.
And that is, I can tell you, we're really struggling with exactly how to
Yeah.
do that and just trying to make the best decisions possible.
Yeah. So one of those events, Tom, is the Olympics.
Yeah.
It's not gonna look the same
No.
because we know at this point, we're not gonna be traveling to each of the communities.
Yeah.
So the wellness team is trying to come up with some alternative options to that, so working on a plan with that.
Yeah, and I think they're still gonna have some events that we can have some competition with the
Yep.
sister communities.
Yep.
They just won't be next to each other when they're doing it.
Right.
One thing that I thought would be maybe an obvious thing is, with the Zoom capabilities that we have now with the other communities, we could have quiz bowl competition still with us being in three different areas.
Absolutely.
I don't see why we couldn't do that
Yep.
to some extent. So our wellness team is
Mhm.
working with the other wellness teams, as you said, with the other communities, and we'll come up with something
Yep.
that will
Yep.
work.
I've had several people ask about the High Point University students, the volunteer program that we have with the
Yeah.
pharmacy students. Cindy is working with HPU right now to find out some more details. The last we heard is that all the students were gonna be required to be vaccinated, so we're just trying to get that confirmed. Also, just come up with some safe protocols. If a resident doesn't feel comfortable meeting with their student, then setting up Zoom or telephone calls. So we're trying to work through options with that because we still feel that it's important to keep that program going and helping those students.
Yeah.
So we're just reviewing that, and Cindy will be coming out with a communication very soon on that. So that's coming. And like I said, just looking at any kind of large gatherings that we have, just to figure out if we can still have them, and if we can, how do we do it maybe safer,
Yeah.
things like that. So we're reviewing all those
Like
kind
I
of
said,
things.
before, we could just, sorry, no gatherings
Right,
at all. Well, we're
right,
not doing that.
right,
We don't wanna
right.
do that,
Yeah.
but I don't think it's smart for us to also at the same time to say, we should just have all these large gatherings and expose residents to each other as much,
Right.
what do they call those, like incubation events, or what I keep hearing now is the term
Yeah.
for that. We don't wanna be doing that.
Right, right.
Oh, and the other thing I wanted to just mention, Lisa, that it's not on our agenda, but it's just something I think that residents need to keep in mind, and that is, when we went into COVID last time, the first time, we were fully staffed. We had a plethora of, not to say that we weren't still hurting in some positions, but it was really much different then than what it is now. We're going into this Delta variant.
Limping.
We're limping
Yeah.
in.
That's
Thank you.
okay.
That is exactly the right way to say that. And we're struggling. We're getting staff, but we're also, there's a lot of staff that are frightened and have left us. And not just left us to go to another place. A lot of them have just left us because they don't want to be working during this time.
Right.
And so, we're doing a great job, I think, as managers and as workers, and we've got people that are really rising to the occasion to help us with kind of keeping things going here. But it's different than last time.
It is.
Yeah.
The challenge is huge, and I'm going to talk about this maybe this is the right time to talk about it now, at least instead of waiting. But I've mentioned this I know a couple times before. We're taking some drastic steps to be more competitive in the marketplace. When you've got the FedExes and you've got the Amazons out there paying $17, $18 an hour for positions, or more in some cases, it's really hard for us to compete against
It
that.
is hard.
When our minimum
Yeah.
wage here is $11.50.
Right.
So
We're not even close.
We're not
to
even
that.
close. And so we're working on budget process. Remember our budget year runs from October 1 to September 30th. So I know I had mentioned this before on another show that we were going to be making some major adjustments in our pay for the frontline lower paying positions, because we've got to get competitive so we can bring people into the community.
Yeah.
And that comes as a cost. And quite honestly, the board hasn't approved it yet. We're waiting for all that to happen. That's going to happen over this next 30 days. But we anticipate in October 1st that we're going to be able to not only raise our starting rates up, but also raise up a lot of staff members up to a higher level minimum wage for River Landing. As a matter of fact, the package we're proposing right now is about a $700,000 package that we're going to be doing. So will that solve all of our problems? No, I'll tell you, it won't. But will it help us with attracting staff and being able to get a better qualified person to come in here? We think it will. We think that's going to be a major thing. So it's a lot of cost though, and so I'll be talking about increases in monthly service fees in October, towards late October. I usually have that meeting, and we'll talk more about that after the board approves the budget. But I just want to make sure that residents understand that this is going to be a huge hit to the budget, and so there will be, and I don't want to scare anybody, but there will be a little bit more of an increase than what we've had in the past. Don't get upset. It's not like it's going to be a gigantic increase that everybody's going to get upset about, but there is definitely going to be a little bit higher increase, and that's just natural, I think. I haven't done the calculation yet, but I know the increase that we're asking the board for to be able to approve won't even cover probably more than 100 or 150,000 of the 700,000 we're asking for. So. So again, we'll talk more about that as it gets closer. But I believe in being very transparent about this stuff. This is a huge adjustment we're getting ready to make, and so we'll do our best not to have to put it all on the shoulders of residents, but a piece of it's going to have to go on the shoulders of the residents at this point. So we'll keep working through it. But one more thing about that, and I think I've probably skipped ahead a little bit of our agenda, but we could use your help. On Care Merge, we have put a section of what our current openings are, what our positions are that we need. If we have 625 residents here at River Landing. If they're putting that out to family members and friends and putting that out to their churches, if we can get the word out that we're looking for really good staff, maybe that would help us with getting more people in. So to me, it's a numbers game, right? If the more people that know, the more people that put it out there, the better chance we have of getting good qualified people to come in. So,
absolutely.
So please help us.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be a great thing if you could do that.
And it's called Recruiting at River Landing on the Care Merge page. So just look on the left-hand side there, the tabs. But I think it's a great idea giving it out to your church.
Yeah.
A lot of churches have electronic newsletters.
That's
they
right.
have other places they can post those kind of things. So
And I just did that with my
helping us.
church. I asked my
That's
pastor
great.
to put it out, and he put it out, and it went out to all of the people in the church. So
Sure.
yeah, it'd be great.
Yeah.
Any help
Yeah.
we can get would be very appreciated.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we need to go back on to
Okay,
agenda.
so we're gonna, yep. So I think we've pretty much touched on virus-related stuff.
Okay, good.
So now we're gonna go into, every Churns we do a construction update.
Yeah.
So we just share where we're at.
Yeah.
So I think good news is big projects will be done before the end of the year.
Well, I've been saying
So-
this, and I haven't changed that.
Right, right.
We anticipate that by Thanksgiving, all of our projects are going to be done.
Yeah.
If they can be done sooner, they will be done
Mhm.
sooner, but by Thanksgiving, we're gonna have all of our projects done.
Everything's still on track for that.
Everything's still on track for that. You know, I know you all been watching the balcony construction that's been going
Yeah.
on, the balconies construction, and they're back to working full-time again, which
Been
is
a lot of
great.
good progress.
You know, and you all know this because I've been talking about this every time we've
Yeah.
had the show,
Yeah.
but it was the steel package that we were waiting for.
Sure.
So they were able to do some things up front. I really purposely think they did that so they could kick us out of those office areas
I think
for
they did.
3 months before we got a chance to do that, Lisa. But anyway, so that aside, you know, we end up, you know, we're starting to see how it's going to look. I think everybody's starting to get a good
Mhm.
feel. Then we're gonna post a picture, kind of like a drawing of what we think it's gonna look like when it's all
Yeah.
said and done. I know we did it before, but
We
we're gonna
did.
do it again.
I think we did it back in May, but it's time, we'll do it
Yeah,
again.
we'll
and
show it again.
Put
But
a
you
floor
can-
plan out too
won't be too much longer before you can be able to see what it
of.
really looks like
Right,
already
absolutely.
in person. But the balcony project is going on, and I think it's going very well. We got
Mhm.
got a good contractor. Fourth Elm's
Mhm.
doing a great job for us. They're in really good communication with us, and so I think we're moving along pretty
Yeah.
good there.
And just want to remind everybody, it is on Care Merge, but tomorrow and Thursday, they will be working overhead in the water's edge.
Yes.
So expect there might be some areas kind of roped off that we can't use tomorrow and Thursday, and just anticipate there might be a little more noise if you're in there at lunchtime.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just prepare for that.
And let's just say this, you know, I know everybody's tired of the construction. We've been doing construction for the last
Years.
5 years, right?
Years.
It seems like it, and probably has been to some extent or another, but we're almost there.
Yeah.
I know it's a pain, but we are almost there. We get through another couple months and
Yep.
we're golden at this point, so just hang in there with us.
The overflow parking lot up and the golf maintenance building.
Yeah, so the parking lot is done, except that we have to run a sidewalk from the parking lot down to the cross between Links Drive and I forgot what it's called. Is that Iona? That's their Iona. And so they won't let us use the parking lot until we get so the sidewalk was supposed to go in tomorrow, when you know it. The one day that we are
Good
planning for
potential rain.
So we're just gonna wait on that. And quite honestly, we really haven't had need
Right.
of the parking lot here recently
Right.
because we're not open to the public yet,
Right.
and staff have been able to just park up at the clubhouse at this
Yeah.
point. But that's coming along. I mean, that's done. The golf maintenance building, they're actually putting on some of the roofing structure
Yes.
now, which I saw today when I
coming
was coming
along.
in. And again, they expect that'll be done right at probably about the middle of October. They think that'll be done. So that's coming along very fast. Pool roof is completed,
Yep.
which is good. So we're happy about that. That was a good fix for us to do.
Yep.
And then I guess you're going to talk a little about the Glen Eagles renovation.
Yes, that's
right?
kind of been my little project.
That's been your little.
That's
That's
been my little
yours.
project,
Yeah, it's been
Tom.
yours. You've done a good job with it.
So the billiards room, we finished that up last Friday, and it looks gorgeous. It's amazing how just changing the color paint in a room. It was before a very dark brown
Yeah.
on half of the walls in there, and just by changing it to our beige gray color, it just opened up the room. It really looks amazing.
Yeah.
Now there's a couple finishing touches yet, but that's normal.
Sure
with,
it is.
You know, we still have to put up our new TV and things like that. But overall, that room is done. They are working on the living room in Glen Eagles this week, and that we're hoping to have the new carpet and the paint and the new furnishings in by the end of the day on Friday.
Wow,
That's the
that's
plan right now. And really, we've been staying pretty close to plan in Glen Eagles, so been very pleased with that. Let's see, still working on the painting and the lighting. We knew that was gonna be a couple month project, so
Yeah.
that, you'll still see that going on. But they need to finish up the painting very soon because we can't put down the new carpet till the painting's done.
Right.
So, but that's going very well. They're right on track with that.
Lisa, weren't we having some fun with the painting being the wrong color on the floor
We
for
were.
a while?
We were,
Even though the residents tried to tell the contractor that
They-
it was the
they
wrong
did.
paint, and they insisted that it was.
they did
The
tell-
residents were right, as
The
always.
residents were right. Absolutely, they should have just listened to the residents.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't, but that's okay. We were able to rectify that very quickly. So that's taken care of. let's see, the first floor lobby in Glen Eagles will be, I don't wanna say closed, but it will be kind of closed. Well, they're putting carpet down, so that will be Thursday morning from 8 a.m. till about 1 p.m. So avoid going through that lobby area. If you need to go outside, you can go out the end door, so there's still ways to exit the building, that's not a problem. But just avoid that area, cause there will be the carpet going down. So that's exciting as well.
Yeah.
That's really changing the look of things, when you
Yeah.
start to see new carpet.
Yep.
Oh, it's looking
Yeah.
good, it's just
And you know
looking
we're getting-
sharp.
Well, you know we're getting done when we get into the carpet
Yes,
area. So.
exactly, yep. And then the week of September 6th, they'll actually start carpeting all of the corridors.
Mm.
So they're gonna take one floor at a time, and it will take almost a week per floor. So I'll have some specific things going out to folks in Glen Eagles, because when they are doing your floor, they're gonna ask you to have your door to be unlocked, because there'll be times they have to tie it into the doorways.
Yeah.
So I'll put out some instructions to you all once that gets ready to start, but it's very exciting,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
Yeah, it's neat to see the transition over there. It's
Yeah.
like every day you start to see something a little different and changed.
And you know, the timing of this is very similar to what we did with the original building here.
Yep.
You know, it was about 13 years.
It was.
Between when we opened and when we did kind of this upfit, retrofit, whatever you wanna call it. And so, used basically the same time frame
Yeah.
for the Glen Eagles
Yeah.
building as well, so.
Yeah. So very exciting.
Yeah. Oh, and Lisa, we've got.
We have one more thing.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Are we talking about the same thing?
I have no idea.
So we,
You know, Ken.
well, for our golfers.
See, you should know this.
And our walkers to some extent as well.
Absolutely.
You know, we're about ready to kick off the replacement of the asphalt paths around the campus,
Yeah.
and we're going to convert everything to concrete pads, cracked concrete walkways, concrete
Mhm.
golf cart paths.
That'll look so sharp.
I think that'll look really good.
Yeah, it will.
And we've got some concrete. We've got some asphalt paths that are really
Right.
in bad
Yeah.
need of repair. So, so we're all very excited about that. And so, our contractor there is probably going to be starting in the next several days, maybe beginning of next week. I think we're going to get started sometime very soon. And that's not a fast process. That's
Right.
going to take a while. And you
Right.
think about all of the asphalt
Oh,
paths we
yeah.
have around this
Yeah.
campus. Think about having to remove all that asphalt.
Right. Right.
Fixing the spots underneath, and then pouring the
Right.
concrete, and then having the concrete cure, because the concrete's not like asphalt. Asphalt, you can start really rolling over top of it within a
Right.
few hours after you've
Sure.
poured it. Concrete's gonna take several days
Yeah.
or longer to be able to cure, but I think it's gonna look
It's
really
gonna look
great
nice.
when we're all done,
Yeah.
so.
And there'll be communication coming out on that as well.
Yeah.
I
And I
talked
think-
to Scooter, there's some things that
Yeah.
we can't walk on it for so long. and
Yeah.
Things like that, so we'll make sure everybody knows.
It might make golfing a little challenging for our
It might,
residents
yeah.
and their guests that are coming out to
Yeah.
play with them, but,
I wonder, I could see a ball impaled in wet concrete and just kind of staying there for about 20 years.
It could happen.
thanks for putting that idea out there for everybody, Ken.
And there's gonna be a day when we all get to put our initials in it.
Yeah, I was
too,
wondering
right?
that
There you
too.
go.
Like we used to do when we were kids.
Yeah, I
Maybe
remember
we'll
that.
have a designated area for that, Ken, so that we
There
can
you
do it all at
go.
the same place instead of having it randomly throughout the community here, so.
I like that.
We could have a golf hall of fame and people could put their
I like
handprints
it.
and a gold star or something, I don't know.
So how do you get in that
I
Golf Hall of
don't
Fame?
have any idea.
See that?
I think one of the things you have to do is you have to be very good about hitting the clubhouse when you're playing golf.
Oh,
So-
that,
Kind of
absolutely.
like a hole in one.
It's kind of like a hole in one,
It's
although
hitting
it's
the
a much
clubhouse.
bigger hole than the hole itself. But
Do you know anybody that would?
I know of at least one person that's good at hitting the clubhouse.
Okay.
I won't
I've heard of
mention
it.
names,
I just haven't
so,
seen it.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
so
It's a rumor.
yeah. Fortunately, that person doesn't play all that often, so it doesn't happen very often. So.
Hmm.
Lisa, we had our silent auction
Yes.
last week, and you know what? It was pretty cool.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It really was.
Yeah.
This year we did it a little bit different in that the online part of the auction, which always kicks off the live auction,
Yeah.
we did a lot of buy it nows.
Yeah.
So we have found that a lot of folks like to just go ahead and buy it now and not do bidding. So we sold probably 80% of the items, I would say, that we had on the online auction during
Ahead
that
of time.
auction.
Yeah,
We
that's
really
great.
did, so it was pretty amazing. We had 110 participants in our online auction.
Wow, and that's way more than we've ever had.
Almost double.
Yeah.
Almost double from what we've had, so that was pretty amazing to see that.
Yeah.
I've heard it's one of the most silent auctions we've had so far. I mean, just
Well-
on a decibel level.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
For those that were there right at the end when we were doing the countdown,
Yes.
it was a little anticlimactic, I thought, because there wasn't as many people there. There wasn't many items that were left.
There
right?
wasn't. There was literally only three lines down the center that were still being bid on. So it wasn't as.
And the great
You're
news,
right.
for the first time ever, we didn't have to break up any fights that were going on.
We did not. We did not. We
That's
didn't
so
have
good.
any bidding challenges. It all just went very
It
smooth.
did. It was
Very
good.
smooth.
Very silent. Yeah.
Very
Just like it
silent.
says. Yeah.
Yes.
And is this number correct?
This number's correct. So we raised, drum roll, $11,928.36.
Wow.
We're not sure how we got the 36 cents
I'm
since
not-
everything was on the dollar.
You're right.
Somebody must have gave us a little tip. I'm not sure.
Yes.
But we're very appreciative of the 36 cents.
Absolutely. And thank you to all the volunteers. We have a really core group that works on the online auction part.
Yeah.
You know, Kathy Hoyt,
Burks.
Sharon and Jim Burke.
Yeah.
So we really have a core group that does that. And then we had several volunteers for setting up the event,
Yeah.
at the event, and then helping after the event.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of great volunteers here that help with that. Also for buying items, donating items, the bake sale, the barbecue, luncheon, all those ways helped us raise this money. So thank you all for that.
I walked down there early morning for the bake sale.
Mhm.
Couldn't get over. I think there was 4 tables worth
It
of
was
baked goods.
double. That was also double from what we've ever had
Yeah, that was
before.
amazing.
It was amazing.
You would have thought it'd be less.
I know,
items
we
than
worried.
What we were.
We
It
did
was quite
worry.
the opposite. wasn't
Yeah.
it?
We made close to or over $1,000 just on bake sale.
Wow, that is amazing.
That's a lot of baked goods.
Yeah.
And that's from everybody just volunteering their time and their
Yeah.
baking talent. So that's amazing.
Yeah,
So
that was
thank you for that.
Pretty neat.
It's because we have the new workout area. People felt free to go ahead and buy the pies. You know, I can go work out after
Well, there you
this.
go. It goes hand in hand. Maybe we should have the bake sale in the wellness center next year.
Maybe so. Yes.
I don't know. We might not sell anything then.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay, one last thing, because I don't think we mentioned this. We have hired a new HR director.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So that's exciting.
So I think we mentioned this before. Maybe we didn't. Morgan Ransom, who has been our HR director for the last 2 years, got a dream job.
Right.
She got a job that she has always wanted to have, and we're very happy for her and wish her a lot of luck. Her last full-time day was a little over a week ago, but she's still, this is how great a person she is, she's still helping us in the evenings, trying to help us with keeping, doing some of the HR stuff. Tiffany Martin, who's our payroll assistant, HR generalist, has done a great job kind of keeping things rocking and rolling while we're waiting for the new person to start. But Vicki Spriggs is her name, and she's coming from Maryland. She works currently for Erickson Senior Living, and for those of you that don't know anything about Erickson has huge retirement communities. They have like 19 huge retirement communities. Because being from the Maryland area, I know a lot about Erickson. We've even been in 1 or 2 of their communities, and their resident numbers are anywhere from 1,500 to 2,500 in each one of their communities.
Wow.
So they're big operations, and so it was really neat. I really think it was a God thing, to be honest with you, about Vicki, because her and her husband have family down here in this area. They had already bought a house in Cronersville, and she was just looking for the right job for being able to move down here. And we are the benefactors of that. And she's got over 20 years of HR experience. And I'm very excited about Vicki joining us. I think she's going to be great. The other thing that's really cool, she's bilingual.
Yes.
So she speaks Spanish as well as English, and so for our Hispanic staff members, it's going to be really nice to be able to have an HR manager that can really communicate with them in their native language. So I just think it's really gonna be a good thing. And so she'll start on September 20th, so we got a few weeks left before she can get here. But we're,
Do you think she could bring 40 or 50 people with her from
I
there?
don't know. I was wondering
That'd be
that
great.
too.
That's quite a commute.
Yeah, oh, well,
Yeah.
I mean, permanently, yeah.
She might not be able to help us there. I'll tell you who's really helping us there is our new director of nursing and our
Administrator.
healthcare
Yeah,
administrator, both
yeah.
our Megans.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They've we've gotten several folks already from communities they've been working at in the past, and so that's been nice to see. That's been helping us a lot. So, Lisa, questions? We
Okay.
have a few questions,
Yes,
right?
we do. So we have some serious questions and then a fun question at the end.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So first one, if I'm vaccinated and was exposed to someone for more than 15 minutes that has COVID, what do I do?
Yeah.
So we get asked that one often because, like we've said,
We're starting. to
there's
get more worries.
exposures.
Yeah.
We know this. If you're fully vaccinated, you do not have to quarantine, but you do need to always wear your mask, which we say that. Keep a distance from folks and lay low for 14 days. So for 2 weeks, just kind of lay low.
Yeah.
Maybe don't go to eat with other people at that point. You know,
Yeah.
just kind of take it easy for the couple weeks, not to have expose yourself to any more people than you have to.
Yeah.
The CDC recommends that fully vaccinated people should get tested 3 to 5 days after their exposure. So that's also a recommendation from CDC. So, but you do not have to quarantine, but you're monitoring yourself during those 14 days too. And if you start to have symptoms,
Can they get tested here?
that's a good question. That's one of the questions.
Oh,
Okay.
sorry.
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
actually, you're
that's a
just
great
thinking
lead-in.
that should be the
Yeah.
next question anyway. So.
Okay, so Yep. If I've been exposed to someone COVID positive, can River Landing test me?
Yeah.
I would love to say we can, but unfortunately, due to the limited supplies,
Yeah.
we do not have those supplies to be able to do that. We have supplies for the healthcare area to do the testing because we're required to do the testing there. But we don't have the extras to do that. But I think many of you know CVS, Walgreens, a lot of the urgent cares, different places like that you can go and get tested. Some you have to make appointments for, and others you don't. But Cindy has put up the link that you can click on to find out where you can get testing done.
Yeah.
So there is multiple locations out there to do it. But if you need help with that, call us.
Yeah.
We can help you get some of that arranged too.
Yeah, I just want to add, I'd love for us to be able to be tested.
We would love to do that.
I know
Yeah.
that would make it a lot easier for
Yeah.
our residents.
Yeah.
We just do not have the supplies to do
Right,
that now.
right.
The supplies
It's
we get in,
limited.
the supplies we get in are barely enough to cover
Right.
what we're doing in healthcare right now.
Right.
And so.
Especially at twice a week
and,
testing.
And honestly,
Yeah.
we don't even have the manpower to really do this either at this point.
Yeah.
So, but we could probably figure out a way if we were. We
Sure.
even gone to the clinic to
We
try and
have.
see if there's a way to do
Yep.
that.
Yep.
And Wake
There.
Baptist is running our clinic for us, and
Yep.
they are struggling to get supplies.
Right.
This is just
Right.
a problem
Mhm.
across the
It
continuum
is.
at this
It
point.
is.
So we'll keep trying.
Yeah.
We'll keep trying to find supplies and see if we can get some. And if we can get to that point, that we can do them, we don't have a problem doing
Right,
it.
right.
It's not that
Right.
we don't want to do them. It's just that we don't have that
Yeah.
capability right now.
Another question, if I am unvaccinated and have a direct COVID exposure, what should I do? So you're gonna wanna call Cindy, because there is a 14-day quarantine required for folks that are unvaccinated and if you've had an exposure. And of course, testing will be required as well.
Right.
So
Fortunately,
that's still
we
pretty
don't-
strict there.
We don't
That's-
have a ton of residents. I mean, we're barely double digits maybe,
Right,
residents
right.
that are unvaccinated,
Yeah.
but, the parameters are different.
Right,
for
they are still
unvaccinated
different.
versus the vaccinated.
Have any independent living residents shared with River Landing that they've had an exposure? Yes. I mean, we
Mhm.
definitely have been hearing of that. Residents calling and saying, I had dinner with so-and-so and now I found out they're positive. And that's happening with vaccinated and unvaccinated. So yes, I mean, we all know that the potential's there. Vaccinated, I think the risk is lower,
It is,
but it still we know it still can happen because it's happened.
yeah.
But the vaccine, the whole intent is to minimize those
Right.
symptoms
Yeah.
and hopefully keep you out of the hospital.
Yeah.
So that's the goal of the vaccine.
You know, I think I'm just gonna add this, just that this is an observation that just kind of came to my mind.
Mhm.
You know, the area, where we are right now with the Delta variant feels a lot like where we were at the holidays last year.
Yeah.
And it was really bad, if you remember, in the holidays
Yeah.
last year. I mean, there was a time there where we had residents in 2 different healthcare locations of our campus that
Mhm.
we had a string of people
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
had been exposed and were COVID positive.
Right,
I mean,
right.
at one time, we probably had.
We had over 100 on quarantine at that
We had
one
100
point.
in independent living.
Yeah, we
And then
did.
on the healthcare center, we had probably 10, 15, 20
Probably.
residents that were COVID positive
Yeah.
at that point.
Yep.
So, my observation here is because of the level of positive people that were in the state at that time versus what it is now, which is almost the same percentage,
Mhm.
we're not at that same place that we were. Are we still
Yeah.
getting exposures? Are we still getting people that are positive? Yes, but it's not to the same level.
Right, right.
And to me, that's a confirmation again that
Mhm.
this vaccination is doing what it was supposed to be doing.
Right, right.
It's not foolproof, but it
Right.
keeps us out of the hospitals, it keeps us from dying, and it's
Very
doing what it's
true.
supposed to do. Because I think we would be right where we were at the holidays if it
Yeah.
wasn't for that right
Yep.
now. And this booster is gonna be really important for us to get when we're able to go ahead and set up that
Mhm.
clinic. It's gonna be
Mhm.
very important to do that. So,
Yeah,
sorry,
good
I didn't
point.
mean to,
No,
I didn't mean to
good
take us
point.
down a rabbit trail
Yeah.
there, but that was an observation I was just
Yeah.
thinking about in
Yeah,
my head.
very
so.
true. Okay, now we're to a good question,
Okay.
okay? How is Whitney doing and baby Nico?
That's a question?
I've gotten several emails on this. Give us an update on Whitney and baby Nico. So I believe we have a picture up on Care Merge of Nico. So I think that's pretty cool. But they are both doing very well. Ava, who is Whitney's oldest daughter, she's adjusting to having a new baby brother. So all that's exciting too. So
And I was just gonna add,
Mhm.
not that Whitney has exclusive rights to this, but you know, Destiny also is still out on
yes.
maternity leave, and I got a chance to interact with her for a couple minutes on Saturday as well.
Did you? Okay.
And I asked her how she was doing, and she goes, "Oh, she loves being a mommy."
Oh, yeah.
She said, but she cannot wait to come back to her residence.
I love it.
And
Well,
we-
she's been out a little longer.
We kind of
now.
figured that Destiny
So,
was definitely going to
yes,
come back,
yes,
right?
yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
we didn't think that was going to
Yeah,
change.
she's
but
been out almost 2 months now, hasn't
She's
she?
been out for a little while, so
Yeah.
I think she's due to come back in like early
October.
October,
Yeah, early
mid-October?
October.
Early October, I think.
Yeah.
So, but she seemed to be doing
Good,
well.
good.
And I was kidding her because she's part of our little pickleball group that plays, or she was.
Mhm.
And I told her, I said, we're gonna have to really get you back up to speed. She goes, oh no, I've been playing pickleball. I've got my skill level has remained. And I went, oh, because she's an athlete.
Oh, yes, she is. She is.
Destiny is an athlete. She's
Well, that's awesome.
yeah. So
That's pretty cool.
I thought that was pretty neat.
Yeah,
too, so.
yeah.
That's neat. You know, both of our two
Yeah.
gals have really done very well.
Yeah, yeah.
So, very cool.
Yep. And Courtney's doing a good job as interim
Yes,
wellness
she is.
director.
Yeah.
So that's good. And Jill, of course, you know, she is taking great care of everything as well. And then we added a new person,
Yeah, Amanda, right?
Amanda.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
To take over Courtney's job. Well, Courtney's in her new role, so it's like little
We got
musical
people,
chairs.
'cause we got Sydney taking over Destiny, right?
Exactly.
Then we don't have anybody for Sydney at this point, but we're
No.
working on
We're
that
working
too.
on it.
So
We're working on it.
yeah.
So we just kind of shift around a little bit.
Yeah.
But isn't it great to have team members that are so versatile like that?
Yeah.
That we can,
Tell you what, we've needed
Have
that
that.
more than ever
oh, absolutely.
because of the situation. Right?
Yep.
So.
Yep.
Well, we've been an hour, I think, at this point, so we're pretty close to it. So,
I'd like to move to adjourn.
would you like to?
Is there a
That's why I
second?
said I was just going to ask if there was a second. So, you know, maybe the last thing, and you might want to add something too.
Yeah.
You know, we're in a war right now with this COVID vaccine, COVID virus, I should say, not vaccine, but we're in a war right now, and the war's harder because we have less Army on our team right now. But the good news is we got the main Army person, the head, staring at us from above, and I think we just need to keep going back to him. And I really do believe if we just trust in him, trust in the Lord, that we don't have to worry about this community. He's protected us for the last 18, almost 19 years now, and we just need to keep relying on him and trusting in him and praying that he helps our community and helps our families and helps our staff, residents, friends, vendors, anybody that's connected with us. Just need to keep praying out to him for us. So I would ask all of you to collectively do that. Because quite honestly, I think we need the prayers right now. In some ways, maybe even more than we did back when the original COVID was hitting. So, so I don't know if you want to share anything.
And well, in answer to the question, am I my brother's keeper?
Yes.
The answer is yes.
Yeah.
We've got to be looking after each other.
Yeah, we do. Don't we?
Now, especially.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and this is a time for us to not splinter away from each other,
Right.
and stay together.
Absolutely.
Try not to let the little things that are going on in your life bother you. Let's just rise above this. Let's just be supportive of each other. Let's be grateful for what we have. Things aren't going to be perfect for a while. We're gonna have some things that are going to be really hard for us to adjust to, especially once this mandate goes into effect. There's going to be a little bit of pullback. We're going to do our best not to make sure it's too much, but there's going to be some pullback. I don't think there's any way for us to avoid that.
Right.
But you can help us. You can help us by praying, which is probably the most important thing. You can help us by trying to find staff members that we can staff up on, so that when this mandate does go through, that we're still have the staff capable of being able to help us do all the things that we've gotten accustomed to being able to do around here.
Yep.
So I think I'll get off my soapbox now at this point. But I just, we are a family here. Let's stay as a family here. So, all right. Anybody else have anything to share? Okay.
I think we're good.
All right. Well, thank you all very much. We love you. Have a great Wednesday afternoon. I almost said Tuesday, but it's Wednesday.
Wednesday, yes.
God bless you all.